371 days after entering the ark, Noah and his family disembarked. Immediately, Noah built an altar and offered a sacrifice. Once again, the innocent suffered for the guilty, testifying to the fact that man cannot save himself, and that one day the promised Redeemer would come. Following Noah's sacrifice, God gave Noah a directive, and the age of human government began. Noah and his family were to repopulate the earth. And now, instead of each man being guided and governed by his own conscience, which had failed miserably, man would be governed by man. Civil government was instituted and charged by God with the responsibility of protecting human life and executing capital punishment whenever a life was taken. The sanctity of human life, which God had created, was reaffirmed, and the rainbow was given by God as a sign to man that he would never again destroy humanity with a flood. But once again, mankind failed to recognize God's authority and disobeyed. Instead of spreading out and repopulating the earth as God commanded, the descendants of Noah built a great city, and instead of building an altar of sacrifice, they built a great tower. Their defiant plan is revealed in Genesis 11:4, where they said, "Let us build ourselves a city, and a tower whose top may reach into heaven, and let us make a name for ourselves, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth." But again God had the last word, as he did in the Garden of Eden, when he drove out the man, and as he did at the flood, when he destroyed the disobedient and saved the obedient. For up until this time, everyone spoke the same language. But now the Bible says that God confused their language, creating many languages, and people began to associate only with those they could understand. The tower, the Bible says, became known as the Tower of Babel, which means confusion. Mankind was scattered, his disobedient, defiant plans shattered. The various language groups dispersed and began forming the various countries of the world, populating the entire globe as God had originally planned. Noah's grandson, Nimrod, founded the Chaldean Empire, which became the mighty Babylonian Empire. Another of Noah's grandsons built the Egyptian Empire. Both of these empires grew in wealth, the sciences, and art. They were models of human civilization and government, but they were filled with idolatry, political and moral corruption, and were anti-Jehovah God. Mankind had failed again. He had proven he could not righteously rule the world as God directed or justly govern himself as God commanded. But in the midst of that failure, as in the days of the flood when God found Noah, God now found another man, Abraham, who was willing to obey. The age of human government ended. God established a covenant relationship with one willing man, and the age of promise began.